So I was late in waking up this morning, admittedly, and so I get up and the game's partway done. I saw enough to see that the Saudis had nothing, nothing to answer the Russians with. I was like, well, that makes sense. I mean, going into a tournament, I don't want to decry any one team, but that made sense to me. The Russians being a host countries do very well off the hop. And I was like, all right. Then they go to the pundits. So these are the English speaking, and by English speaking, I don't mean English, I mean British, right? So you get the British guys on there who are talking about how Russia was seen as probably one of the weakest host countries, and it was a surprise to see how well they handled the Saudis, and that the Saudis had nothing to offer against them. I'm not sure how this works. I did a video last night as mainly known for my hockey, and I said I think the Russians will probably be in the round of 16, and they won 5-0. So they have an excellent chance right now of being in the round of 16. And when they went to the pundits were like, oh, we didn't see this coming. I mean, 5-0 surprised me, but Russians winning didn't. And the fact that the Russians are a better team than the Saudis doesn't surprise me either. I was pointed out, that I use the FIFA rankings. Well, FIFA rankings aren't all that reliable. Oh, I know. I've been down this road before. I've seen many, many World Cups where you'll see a country come in as just a qualifier. They got in the last minute, and then in the tournament they kind of kick ass. Or teams that, maybe they were a really top seed and this is going to be their year, and then they're the Netherlands. So, of course, whether they're Netherlands, Holland, Dutch, whatever you call them, they find a way to crap out. And it's weird watching the World Cup because, I just go with just the feeling that, okay, there's certain countries that are usually pretty good, and host country will always overachieve. Whether it's South Africa, whether it's Koreans, Japan, they will always overachieve. There's something to playing at home, and I think that's why it's exciting that in 2026, if Canada is able to send a team without needing to qualify, and yesterday, various media outlets would not say that they're going to do that. Yes, every other tournament has worked that way, but with 3 countries, and then you got to factor in the U.S. didn't qualify for this tournament. Canada was nowhere near qualifying for this tournament. Do you really want to make it so that all of these countries get in? And that's where there's going to be some debate. And rightfully so. I don't think that just handing Canada a spot necessarily works, but that's probably what will end up happening, I would think. FIFA's so hard to read, but again, I'm not sure if I was the only one who wasn't that surprised today that the Russians won easily over the Saudis. And there were the 2 goals at the very end of the game that made it look uglier than it was. It was 2-0 at the half, and 2-0 in a game of soccer is really hard to make up. At the World Cup, it's darn near impossible because they'll just box you out. They'll pass back to the goalie, pass it up, pass back, pass. That's when it turns into what the Simpsons had on there. They're talking about center to halfback to left wing, wing to center, back to halfback. And that's basically your game. That does tend to happen when a team has a 2-0 lead at the half. But, kudos to the Russians for attacking. And because goal differential can decide who's in or out of the round of 16, they now have an excellent chance. So, yeah, I really wasn't that surprised. Tomorrow I think is going to be fun. We'll see what Egypt has to offer. And we'll see what some of the other countries that are being viewed as also-rans, how they actually turn out in the tournament. Because the first year I watched it was 90, when the Cameroons came out of nowhere and were actually a lot of fun to watch. Nobody saw that coming. So this is why I love this tournament. The only thing that I do wonder is, are there a lot of countries that should be here that aren't here? Do they need to revisit the way they decide? And again, you don't want to necessarily shut out Africa or shut out the oceanic countries. And that's kind of what would happen. If Europe was allowed to just flood it, you'd end up with a lot of European countries, a lot of South American countries too, that would push out a lot of the underdog stories that we enjoy so much at the World Cup. So let me know your thoughts about today's action. How good do you think the Russians are? Can they snag first in that division, or does it matter? So let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And for people who are used to me just talking about hockey, I know this is weird, but I do watch other sports, and I have watched the World Cup for a long time. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.